Welcome, everybody, back to Like the Way You Drink. We have our co-host here, Gladys Boutwell in Oregon, and I have my wonderful co-host, I guess it's over here, Tim Gillette. Introduce yourself, my dear friend.
Well, hey, I'm Tim Gillette. All right, I'm just the sidekick in this show. Yeah, you got the pretty face, and you got all the recipes.
No, just we share the love, but we do come up with some interesting things. I sometimes will come up with the funky drinks, and he will come up with the interesting pairings that sometimes you go, why? But the question is, why not? And then as you're trying your drink and you're pairing it with the food, you go, oh, I kind of like this. And we have tried different things over this last year because we're coming up on a year. And that we've been doing this podcast, and it has been fun to try things. Some that we go, yeah, never again, and others that we say, oh, we'll have to try this again, and then we will use it throughout the following weeks or months, whatever it may be, to try new things, to see what do we like. Because if you don't like the way you drink, then don't do it. Try something else.
Don't do it. Yeah. Well, that's it. How many times have we made a drink that I'm like, nah, this goes in the spit cup?
One that was supposed to be special for Tim, and that was such a flop. I sent him a picture, and I think I posted it on Facebook, and I said, well, this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what I did, and it was so ghetto looking, and I'm like, nailed it? Not quite, but we have to try.
Hey, we don't 100% make the drinks on this show to match the picture.
We try.
It's about liking the drink, not the picture. Unfortunately, the picture is part of getting people to look at our show, but anyway.
You know, y'all don't sometimes see, or you never see the mess we have to clean up afterwards, the way the desk looks, even if we're using, tablecloths and what have you. It's still a mess. It's still sticky. It still has to get washed, and it still has to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
When you're doing it in your kitchen over a sink, some of these things are a lot easier to do than the way we're doing it in our office.
I'm trying to get I actually switched all the camera stuff up, so I'm trying to get it all set up nowadays. I just realized I never cleared the desk. Oh well.
It's your office, that happens. And I've had it where I'm like, my camera's over here and the speaker's over here, and I'm a mess. So you're fine.
Yeah. Anyway, so the drink that we have chosen tonight, an interesting drink because I wanted to do something butterscotch.
Yep. We probably should have waited another month for that.
We should have. Now that we have fallen into trying to find everything the day of. Yeah.
Well, I have been looking for Butterscotch Schnapps for 3 days. Have made multiple stops. Could not find it. Sean found it for me, brought it into me today. I did call one liquor store that's here in Wilsonville, and Stafford Liquor does carry it. Don't know what brand, but they did have it. But Butterscotch Schnapps.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, cannot find.
I know. Mine, I'm like, I'm going to take this one last chance on the way home on a place called Lucky Liquors. Just saying, Lucky Liquors in Little Elm, Texas. All right, you get the shout out of the day because I walk in, and I said, "Hey, do you have butterscotch, schnapps?" He goes, "Yeah, we got that right over here." I mean, he walked to it. Like
everybody kept saying, "Well, it's supposed to be here." It's like I've already looked. That's why I'm asking because I can't find it. One of the places said, "Nope, go down to the Kroger," and I'm like, "Okay, Kroger's gonna have it." Kroger's all, oh, we haven't had it in a while, but we're a smaller Kroger. You should have gone to the other one that's 20 miles away, which I'm not going to do. Went to the other liquor store. They didn't have. It's like, okay, this is seriously. And the one place I hadn't gone, which at that point yesterday, I did not want to drive to, was Total Wine and More. That probably has it. And the Kuiper, I guess it is, from the Netherlands. That's the most well-known and most popular butterscotch schnapps in the world. I guess I should have gone to the Netherlands to pick up some butterscotch.
Apparently. But all right, but our drink actually calls for the coffee liqueur. Yeah. So what coffee liqueur did you get?
So because of the recipe that I'm going to make, I could not go with Kahlua because Kahlua would have been too sweet. So I went with, my go-to. If it's from Oregon, I'm going to go with it because that we have some great distilleries. So this one is from East Side Distillery. It looks to be Huey Huey. It is not Huey Huey. It is Way Way. So this is Way Way is the correct pronunciation of this cold.
It's Huey Huey to me.
Yeah, right. It's Way Way cold brewed coffee rum. So the interesting thing is that the recipe that I got that I changed ever so slightly is from Cork and Java. They used a Jameson cold brew. Well, I did find something else that was a cold brew, but I decided it was between Kraken cold brew and this one. And this one, because it's locally made and it's got all natural, I went with this one. This is a cold brew, free trade, single origin Arabica coffee beans. And the other thing is that it is from El Paterno Estate. So it's like the father's estate in Huehuetenango, Guatemala. So my family's from Guatemala. So had a shout out to the growers in Guatemala that have absolutely delicious coffee. I was just telling my neighbor here in the office that when I go to Guatemala, I will drink the coffee without sugar, without cream, because there's this certain sweetness in it that's absolutely delicious. So it is proudly sourced and lightly roasted at Portland Roasted Company. So this Way Way is all the way from Portland and all, very, very much Oregon made. So I had to use this one. I haven't opened it yet. This is one of the fun parts of doing this is the opening it live because
I opened all my stuff beforehand.
Yeah, Portland roasting. So that's the other thing. This one is 30% alcohol by volume, 70 proof, and it is and it even says the Finca El Paterno estate made with coffee from Huehuetenango, Guatemala. So Huey or Way Way because it's Huehuetenango. So that's where the name comes from. So
I just went old school and went Kahlua. I know it's like a go-to. You know what I mean? Like I didn't think I was going to find the Butterscotch Schnapps, so I'm like, I might as well just get Kahlua.
Right, you're like, I gotta go with it when I can. So this, I love the packaging of it, so that was kind of fun. So Cork and Java and Billy, he's the main host. His wife sometimes helps out, but he had done a White Russian for the dude. Oh my goodness, the name of that movie with the dude.
The Big Lebowski. How do you not know the Big Lebowski?
I did. I have his face. That's why he's the dude. I remembered. And so he had done a podcast before on the Big Lebowski and the White Russian. So this time it was a caramel butterscotch White Russian.
You realize we could do a whole year just on White Russians.
Good. There's so many.
We could do a whole year on my favorite, talk about losing your mind.
So he used caramel sauce that they had. I have this sweet apricity. They're one of my clients. If you have allergies, allergic to wheat, rye, if you just cannot have gluten, the reason that sweet apricity exists is because you can have sweets without all the gluten. So she had given me this sea salted coconut cream caramel sauce. So I had to open it and say, why not make it in this? So this is from Sweet Apricity. So shout out to them. They are local in Vancouver, Washington, and they serve those with all the allergy stuff. So this is the caramel sauce that I'm using. I'm using the Way Way coffee, and I was going to go with Deep Eddy vodka, but I opted to bring out the Tito's this time, and I'm using the Hiram Walker Butterscotch Schnapps. and Dairy whole milk in mine. Frankly, you can use any type of milk that you want, but if you want something creamy and velvety, this is the way to go. And the butterscotch schnapps actually is lower in sugar than a butterscotch vodka. So this,
well, yeah, I didn't want to go with the butterscotch vodka because here's the vodka. I'm still supporting the Ukraine.
there you go. There you go. So you can really make these drinks with Kahlua. If it's Kahlua, it's gonna be a little bit sweeter. That's why I wanted something that wasn't as sweet. And then the butterscotch schnapps, it's the beautiful color there, velvety with the whole milk versus the 2% local. And then our pairing. So I know that we had tiramisu that
that I couldn't find. Apparently, no one in Little Elm, Texas, Denton County, does tiramisu on Mondays.
So I had been looking for tiramisu, calling around. Nobody had it. Nobody had it. Abella said, yes, we open at 4. Come pick it up then. And I'm like, so are you really going to have it? I'm like, I was asking her. It's like, yeah, it'll take 5 minutes. And I'm going, the last time I asked them, I had to go in and they didn't have it. So I didn't want to trust that they were going to have it. So sorry, Abellas here in Wilsonville. I want to support you local, but I also wanted to have the tiramisu.
We also have a time frame.
So this tiramisu, it's so cute. This one is from Costco. They come with, I think it's a 3 or 4 pack. Sean picked it up for me, but Costco.
Is that a glass or a plastic?
It is glass. It is.
Yeah.
Glass.
And it gives you a set of glasses to drink out of later.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh my goodness. I'm going to make my next caramel butterscotch white Russian out of this. And then what did you have for your sausage? Because we said anything with sausage.
All right. I went with these little miniature biscuit sausage, buttermilk biscuit sausage packets. Like you get them in the store. I love these because like when you're hungry or like a breakfast, I don't like to eat a heavy breakfast. Right. They're small. They're tiny. They come in 2 packs, right?
Nice.
So that's why I got them. I'm like, I'm just going to get those. All right. And I went through the store and the first place I found them, I came in packs of like 25. And I'm like, whoa. Wow.
Don't need that many.
They'll be in my freezer for the next 6 months. But anyway, I found it with the a smaller pack and got those. And then I couldn't find tiramisu. So I was doing some other alternatives. I decided to bring out the Lindor chocolate balls that I always have in my refrigerator.
Right.
And Mom made some before she left. She made this apple pie that I still have half of it.
All right.
So, and I thought all of them could be an interesting twist to add to the butterscotch white Russian.
So what I did is these little smokies, and I put the butterscotch candies discs on here as decor. We'll post a picture of it on the Facebook page. But I used the Hillshire Farms little smokies. These are pork and cheddar. I was going to do pork and chicken, but I opted to do pork and cheddar. Yeah. And what I added was this Johnny's whiskey sauce, bold sauce. And I love the packaging, and I had to keep the little bottle to show it off. So Johnny's whiskey sauce, I believe I picked it up at Safeway most likely. And it's good for burgers, chicken, and seafood. And they used what I did not have the chance to look up was denatured whiskey. That's whiskey, salt. So there is something that's whiskey related in here. And hopefully when I research it, it's nothing horribly bad. But it's bold heat. It's low heat, but it's still bold. And I had to, help me in whiskey. So I had to do that because I did not want to do sausage and eggs. So,
what's wrong with sausage and eggs for dinner?
Some days it's perfect, but today sausage and eggs just did not seem to go. I needed something that was more savory. Even though sausage and eggs is savory, I needed something more bold, something with more of a kick to tone down some of the sweetness that's going on in here, So I did pour out some of the, because the caramel is going to go in here too, but what I did is put some of the caramel sauce and I beat up the discs with the back of a spoon. Well, it's more of a not a spoon, but one of these doohickeys. Hit it really hard so that I can break it up because I want it on the rim of my glass. So that is a little separate while I make it. I will be using my my big ice cube as well as regular ice when I do my shaking and stirring and all. So I got a mess that I got to make here.
Yeah, and I'm actually going down because I actually took my recipe off of the Tipsy Bartender.
Oh, I love the Tipsy Bartender. He is so much fun to watch. Oh, he's awesome. So yes, I like the Tipsy Bartender. And I almost went with his, but I didn't want to go in that direction, so I went with Fork and Java. That they do a lot of their podcasts on wine and coffee. So those are their two things that they focus on is wine and coffee. So he used, I think he used whole milk and the Jameson cold brew. So I'm using my spirit guide, who's also I did one of their tastings a couple years ago, and so they sent me all the stuff. So
we keep talking about things that we're going to create with our logo onto it. This should be one of them.
A shaker, of course.
A shaker.
So you can always decorate your rim. Decorating rims is always fun, depending on what you're doing. And so with this one, it's with the candy and the caramel.
So I was going to decorate my rim, but I did not have any caramel to help decorate my rim. So I was trying to figure out some other way to do it.
Depending, were you going to use the caramel candies?
I was going to use the butterscotch candies.
Okay. I was going to say if you had like a buttered rum, that would have been good. A little bit of butter also. Or just, kind of
take something like your coffee liqueur
and use it. See?
Put it in your little thing here. All right. Dip your finger into it and just go around the rim.
There you go. So you can do if you have a little squirter guy, then you can just to decorate. It doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to get mixed in, but it's going to make your glass look really pretty when you add all your ingredients. So this one is more sugar than what I normally like, but I have to try it out. I have to do all the things. And there's and then the reason you want to what's that?
Look at that. Oh, with a little bit of rimming of the coffee liqueur because I didn't have any caramel to coat it. I'm like, I don't have any caramel. Wait a minute. I already got it crushed.
Ta-da. So I put a big cube in here because you never want to dilute your drink. And so the big cube will help you keep your drink cold without diluting it. But I'm still going to start with the coldness. So there is ice in here. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 3. So there's 3 of these. You got your schnapps, your vodka, and your coffee liqueur. 1.5 ounces, and then 3 ounces of this. So 3 ingredients, 3 ounces, in case you need to remember.
I think I put everything in.
So what does yours have? While I mix, you tell us about yours.
So I started off with our butterscotch schnapps. I don't even know what brand it is. It's probably a cheap brand. It's going to give me a headache tomorrow. But it was the last call. I'm getting it from Monkey Liquors. Some coffee liqueur. I've got some the Coors vodka into it. And then I'm using some half and half from Kroger because it's organic half and half.
Okay.
All right.
Half and half. You can use oat milk. You can use almond milk. You can use 1%, 2% whole. Whatever is good for your diet is fine. Don't feel that you have to do what we do. But if you want something velvety, I would say let's go with some whole milk, and you can buy like a one person little bit amount of milk, so don't feel like, oh, I have to go buy a gallon. No, you don't need it.
You can buy those little. That's why I like the little bottles like this with the half and half, because of the fact that I'm not going to drink the whole thing of milk. I don't drink milk on a regular basis, but I'm also not like Jeff Lebowski, and I don't open the carton in the store to taste it.
There you go. Well, I had a small of milk here, and then I realized that I used it last week, and I went, oh, I've already used it, so I definitely can't do that. So here's my. I usually call for 30 seconds of vigorous. Let's see if I can open this. There we go. And you pour it in.
I'm going to say when I eat it with that, I know you didn't want to do this, but the sausage, because the sausage is not totally, it's the way it's supposed to look.
Look how pretty that is. You get all the colors on the all around. It just looks cool.
Mine's still seeping down.
Look at that. And the other thing that you can do it is that you can do it in layers. If you want the colors in your glass, you don't have to shake it. Yeah. If you want the colors and you want to present it with the layers, that's okay too. Do what you want. It's about having fun. And I'm going to get a picture of this gorgeous drink in front of the main culprits here because we got to make it look good. And I'm going to let Cork and Java know that, hey, we made it our own, but at the same time, we kind of took his inspiration. So thank you so much, Billy. I'm going to get the great picture. I'm going to see which side of the glass I like the most that has all the fun colors. Let's see which one I like.
I specifically cleaned my paperwork off the desk today in case I spilled things. And guess what?
You spilled?
I've spilled twice.
Love it. Gotta love it.
So I have different corporate papers I actually had on the desk and I'm like, I better take them off because if I spill something on papers, I'm going to be pissed.
Okay, so what's in your recipe? I haven't even tried mine. I better try it.
It's the schnapps, the vodka, the coffee liqueur, half and half. And then I put butterscotch candies around the edge that I crumbled up. But I crumbled them up, and then I put the coffee liqueur on the lip to get them to stick, as opposed to the caramel sauce. This has got like a really creamy sweetness to it that, you know what I mean? That's why I said I really like it with the sausage.
I was expecting it to be sweeter, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it's not.
Mm-hmm. But I did bring something here just in case I didn't like the drink today.
No, would you bring some vodka? I mean, some whiskey.
Iron hot scotch. This is a butterscotch pepper flavored whiskey that Iron Wolf makes down in Central Texas.
Okay.
And I would drink it all by its lonesome.
Right. I do want to try this one on by itself. So butterscotch schnapps, you can drink by itself. You really can. However, for the most part, you want to pair it with something else. You want to pair it. Excuse me. You want to pair it with Kahlua. You want to pair it with Irish cream, with amaretto, orange liqueur. So there's a lot that you can do with butterscotch schnapps. You can add it to cream. You can add it to coffee. You can add it to hot cocoa. There's a lot you can do, and I'm sure we'll come up with more recipes for using the schnapps. And then your coffee liqueur, it's rum-based. So this is something that you can also put over ice cream. Is my thought. Butterscotch schnapps also in ice cream or an adult milkshake. Mm-hmm. So I think that this could turn into an adult milkshake. So you add some ice cream to it. You increase the quantities just a little bit because you're going to have that ice cream in there. I think that would be really good. Really good flavors. even with the butterscotch candies on the rim, it does not make it overly sweet.
So I just did it with a little bit of my mom's apple pie, which is great apple pie, but it's mixing sweet and sweet. I'm still saying this has got the a little bit of the spice to it that makes it that just offsets the sweet.
Right. And oh, one other thing, that ground nutmeg is something that you can also do a little dash on top, just to give it a little something something. If you don't do the rimming of your glass and the caramel on the inside, well, the other thing you can do is just add a little bit of the caramel into your shaker, so that way you get a little bit of that flavor in there, because this is our caramel butterscotch White Russian. Otherwise, it's just a butterscotch White Russian. And then just do a splash of the nutmeg right on top, just to give it a little bit of a something something in November, December kind of holiday-ish feel to it. This particular caramel sauce, there is a little bit of coconut in there, which is not prominent. It is not taken away from any of it, but it's not an overly sweet caramel sauce. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to cleanse my palate before I go on to the tiramisu, because I'm looking forward to this. This is just, look at that. It's layers. It's gorgeous. See, this matches your drink because of the layers you have. Like, put up your drink. Look at that. See, that's perfect match. So we're going to dig in here. But there's some lady fingers in there. Very smooth. There's so usually a tiramisu, you have the lady fingers that have been soaked in coffee, and I mean, I made it 20 years ago, but I did soak them, and so they give you that fluffiness. This is out of the cream, is where the fluffiness comes from. This is also not overly sweet.
So I'm gonna try a little bit of chocolate. Lindor truffle balls.
There you go.
They go with everything.
Right. So with mine, having it with the tiramisu, because this is sweet, what it did to my drink is it brought the vodka forward. So I was able to taste the vodka more now than before. Before I was tasting the creaminess, I was tasting the butterscotch. With the tiramisu, it actually brought the vodka where I'm tasting the vodka a little bit more. That's not a bad thing, but it kind of downplayed the butterscotch. So this is actually a good combination. It's very yummy.
And I just have switched over. All right. I love the White Russian, but let's face it. You and I eventually are going to go to our whiskey.
Whiskey is always the way, or that we like. That's the way we go. For various reasons.
So my new neighbor Antonio they had a party for his wife this weekend, because she's having a baby due this week.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, come on over. Well, like, I'm the only English speaking guy there, because I mean, they're from El Salvador.
Okay.
So, like, a lot of their family and friends are coming by, and they're nice. The ones that can speak English come by and talk to us a little bit. But they're all like, come on, have a beer, have another beer. I'm like, no, one beer. Right? Oh, come on, man, have more. I'm like, no, I don't drink 4 or 5 beers. I drink one beer. So then, because it's right next door, so I come over. It's like, I come over here to use the bathroom and everything. I go back over, glass in hand. They're like, beer? I'm like, no, whiskey.
I went to a gathering a few months back. I had a whiskey library, if you will, or not whiskey, sorry. It was a wine. They store your wine. It was a wine storage place. Very cool place, though. They have a conference room. They have an area where people can gather. And then, of course, in the back where you can have your wine lockers. So it's the wine storage place. And what does Gladys do? She brings bourbon. And then somebody's like, and then they bring out, they actually had bourbon glasses there. So they pull out the bourbon. I had the big cubes. And then somebody's like, what are you drinking? I want some of that. So like 4 people, they wanted bourbon, so it was one of the local Portland ones that the person that had invited her husband. We had a great conversation about bourbons. And since the bottle was probably half full, I said, here, take it. You need to try this. And really, because he was already drinking wine, so he wasn't going to switch, but I gave him the rest of the bottle so he can check it out. And I actually haven't asked him if he liked it or not, but you know what? It was just, sometimes you just take what you want. It's okay. Is anybody really going to be upset that you brought your own booze?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's saving them money. They'll have extra. That's my thought, but it was a lot of food. So these smokies are so good.
They're just one of those little secrets that, like, no matter what they're always going to be good, no matter how you fix them.
Yeah, that's true.
So.
And I've done them in barbecue sauce before. I had a recipe where it was grape jelly, but it was the regular Smokies, not the cheddar cheese ones. So the regular grape jelly and the Smokies, and I don't remember if there's anything else in it. I'm sure I have the recipe somewhere, but it was just the weirdest thing. Is like grape jelly, but it was so good. It was something so different. Again, just try things. You never know if you're gonna like them. Take a bite. If you like it, great. If you don't, it's okay. You tried it. But the whenever you're making a drink, use the ingredients that you like. Adjust it. When I cook, if I've learned to appreciate cumin a lot more. But before they would say 2 tablespoons cumin. I'm like, okay, so half a teaspoon?
Yeah.
I always adjusted because I knew that cumin was a little too strong for my taste. Now I would probably do a tablespoon, maybe 1.5. I wouldn't put the 2 because it's still very powerful ingredient. So I want to make sure that it doesn't overpower the rest of the dish. So just adjust. What do you like the more? If you like vodka more, then put 1.5 of this, 1 and 1. Adjust it. Whatever you like the more, add a little bit more of that, a little bit less of the other, and then just see. Play with it. If you didn't like it, well then, it's too sweet. Okay, well then add maybe a little bit more vodka, or add a little bit more coffee liqueur. Maybe or maybe a little bit more milk. Whatever it is that you need to balance it out. And then once you know, I need 2 ounces, 1.5, and 3, then that's what you do.
Facebook user says they need to try drinking again.
Hey, make sure that you didn't stop because you have a drinking problem. Because if you have a drinking problem, this show's not for you. But this show is not about drinking; it's about the taste. Yeah, and there are. I mean, I bought it.
Here's the thing: seems life got busy, and I forgot how. All right, I think this is my friend John. All right, but I'm not if I'm not mistaken. It sounds like John. Anyway, I don't drink heavily at all. I believe it or not, I drink for taste. Like I said, my neighbor offered me a beer. Trying to offer me 3 beers. I had 1. Put a lime into it. Drank the beer. When I was done,
you were done.
I was done. All right. I don't drink to. You know what I mean? I'm not one of these people who drink to get drunk. I always drink for what I like to taste. And that's when I approached you about the show, I said I want to do something around taste, not around just drinking for drinking's sake.
We can do that, on our own. We don't need to make it public if we're, we've had a lot of fun over this it's been over a year when we first started talking about it. And I think it was exactly a year ago when we said, okay, we're going to pull the plug. We got together. We said what we were going to do, where we were going to start. We picked the date. Because I remember it was the end of September of last year when we finally decided, and then we were going to start November, the first Monday of November. And I'm stressing out because it's right as my open enrollment season came along.
All right. Now we're getting in trouble. Oh, well, I love that. I drink for the taste. It's like when I tried to tell my mom I had Playboys for the articles. Yeah, Mom, that's why I had them.
Right. And the car ads too,
Yeah. Yeah, they had cards in it. Yeah.
That post so reminded me of one of the last so I did Bridge of the Goddess a couple of weeks ago, and a month ago I did Bridge of the Gods. So when we started on the Washington side and crossed over Bridge of the Gods into Oregon, and there was these signs for, I think it was Megan or something, and so it was, you run better than the government, and then there was like, hey, pain is the word for bread in French, that so look at it that way. And then it was just all these fun little things that they had out for her. One of the last ones said, run like mom used your full name. And so that's what that reminded me of, run like mom used your full name, where it just made me laugh, and it was just inspiration. And it's like, hey, it's the last 2 miles that you have to go, so just go. But people are so creative with their signs, and those were some fun ones, but that's the memorable one. So Facebook user, thanks so much for that, because that's what you reminded me of, is that particular sign, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
And that's why we have a lot of fun on here. So anyway.
What? Yeah. Oh, this is just like fun stuff. So what did you like it with the most? Okay, so you had your apple pie, you had your little sausage biscuit. So what did you like with it? What flavors came out on yours?
Believe it or not, I'm going to say my favorite on doing both. I mean, even drinking my hot scotch with, my scotch, all right, or drinking, with the White Russian with butterscotch, both of them go very, very well with the sausage biscuit. To me, there's just something about that sausage biscuit that's got the sweet, sour in the biscuit, sweet, spicy in the biscuit, that makes the sweetness of the drink pair together so well. All right. The apple pie is great. All right. And it's a great add-on. But when comparison to the sausage, it was the sausage made it go pow.
Yeah. My tiramisu took away from the drink.
Yep.
It took away from all the flavors, because it toned down everything else and brought forth the vodka, which I enjoy and I like. But I really enjoyed the White Russian on its I
was looking for the flavors of butterscotch because I love it. All right. And the reason we come up with this idea when we were planning the show, and we've seen the drink, and I made Gladys go back to it. And I said, wait a minute, I want to do something with butterscotch. And I said, here's why. Over the summer, when Mom sold her house and we closed on her house, we went to a bar that I used to go to all the time. It was known as a moonshine bar here in the Dallas area, Frisco area, basically called Mashed, MASH-D, mashed, like mash.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And it used to be a moonshine bar. You used to go down, they had a wall of moonshines, and you could taste moonshines. They had a whole menu of moonshines, and they did away with the moonshine aspect of it. They still have some, but they did away with that, and they just went to being a regular bar.
Okay.
With mixed drinks. However, they still have a few moonshines, and I said to him, I said, well, what moonshines do you have? I want to taste moonshines, and we're in there. And he said, we've got this one that everybody's been touting about lately. It's called this Butterscotch Moonshine. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to try that. I got 3 glasses of it. Right? 3 shots. Basically, it's 3 shots, right? And I can take my liquor and drive home. I don't, because I had it, but I also I love their barbecue, which they have they make their barbecue with moonshine.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, which is something I do with my barbecue sauces. I make it with either moonshine or I make it with a cinnamon bourbon. So, yeah. But that's what got me hooked on it. I wanted to do something with butterscotch. And had I known the headache I was going to hit today, all right, and you as well, I would have just said, we'll try this in January or something. But
somebody said it's seasonal one, and I'm like, seasonal, it's fall, but I guess fall doesn't officially start for certain things until October.
Yeah.
There was Halloween stuff out in like August, so I don't understand.
Yeah, pumpkin spice was in Starbucks a month ago. Come on, it all depends on who's doing what for fall. So, which I think we have listed for next week, a pumpkin, don't we?
Oh, I know I have it printed.
Because we go into October next week. We're in October 3rd.
Well, let me look. I know I have I know I have my printout.
Oh.
What we're doing.
So I'm starting to get the hiccups from drinking now. I'm okay.
I have it in here. It's, you know what? I probably separated. It's not in my normal notes here. Oh, you know what? I probably left it. I don't have it easily accessible here. But yes, we have what we're going to be doing in through the first week of November. I know that we have ginger snap cookies. I've already started asking about that, and I was told, I don't know, that might not be till November. And I'm like, do I need to make my own? And I don't bake.
Ginger snap cookies, I've always found them like in the grocery aisle year round, but that's just the cookies by themselves. They're not freshly made, they're factory made. All right. But I noticed what we have. Yeah, we have the turkey sandwich bites. I'm looking forward to making those sandwich bites next week.
That'll be fun. Fun.
So,
because turkey's healthy, y'all. Get it, fresh from the deli and had it. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with turkey, and
which is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to get fresh sliced turkey from the deli to make mine.
Yeah, I'll probably either Kroger or Safeway, one of the two. If not, we got New Seasons, which is a Whole Foods, if you will.
We had this whole thing this weekend where this new store opened up called H-E-B, which Texas has a big H-E-B territory, but Dallas never had an H-E-B store.
Interesting. Do they go to smaller towns? Is that their thing?
Yeah, they're like Houston and San Antonio, Austin, loaded with H-E-B, and these are big stores, right? H-E-B is a big name in Texas. And they opened 2 big stores this past weekend in Plano and Frisco.
Okay.
And like my mom said to me, like on Saturday, she's like, well, I drove by it, but had I known that, I would have, like, because the line to get in was an hour.
Oh, wow. Really?
It's a grocery store, people. I'll wait till next week when you all are over the big hype, and I'll go in next week. But they had another brand called Central Market that they brought up here, which is a more organic, very interesting line of food that's been here for 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah. But they finally opened an H-E-B store, which our closest one was an hour away. All right. And there's rib rub that I used to get from H-E-B that is not available at other stores. H-E-B is the exclusive carrier of it. It's a company that makes their rub for my ribs. They're in Central Texas. Huh?
Yeah, you had talked about the rub, that it was so special. I didn't realize that it was that special where you can only open.
All right. And when I run out of it, like I either don't make ribs or I take the notes I have off the back of it and try to emulate the rub myself.
Which is not the same.
Not the same, no. So, but anyway, so I'll be trying out the H-E-B to get stuff to see what else I can get over there. I may go over there to get my turkey stuff, all right, and to make my sandwiches. I also look for fresh bread. Like I stopped at Kroger today. The one thing I do is I go buy the rolls thing, and they have, first of all, they have these rolls that are like, we used to call them like Kaiser rolls up north.
Yeah.
They're not quite Kaiser rolls though; they're a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But they have them with sesame seed, plain, and they have poppy seed. I love the poppy seed ones, even though poppy seeds get all over my desk when I make a sandwich with them. But that's the rolls I like to make my sandwich on. And of course, I went there. I was able to. They had 2 poppy seed ones, so I got them, and I got 1 sesame seed one.
There you go.
Because the packs, they're 3 for $1.
Oh, that's really good.
And 3 of them, I won't eat them every day, but 3 of them throughout the week. Now, I'm not going to make the turkey bites with them because they're a bun. They're not a sandwich. But I will find a sandwich bread that's fresh from the bakery store, or I'll go to a local bakery and get it. All right. Make my sandwich.
What Kroger does, at least here, is that if you buy a loaf of bread, like a loaf that they've made, you can take it to the deli
and they'll slice it for you. Yeah.
you to whatever width you want.
Yeah.
So that is one great thing. If you did not know, Kroger does that for you. They will do that for you. Not all grocery stores will do it. You just have to ask. Similar to a butcher. If you buy a whole chicken at a butcher, you can always ask them, can you cut this up for me? Guess what? 99% of the time, they will cut up that chicken for you so that you don't have to worry about it, especially if it's a whole chicken from the deli. They will take it.
When I was single, Gladys, one of the things I would get was that I would go get those whole chickens at Kroger.
Yeah.
And I used to wait till after 5 p.m. And I would stop by Kroger, and usually they'd be half price.
Right.
Well, I'd buy one half price, and that was 3 days of meals.
Yeah.
All right. And wait a minute. Even I got this because Gwen's been out of town. So I bought smaller packages of meat that I could take and cut. I broke up and froze. So I pull individual packets out. I pulled the chicken out one night and I, made my own rub, put on the chicken, fried it in a pan because I didn't feel like burning up the grill for chicken strips.
Right.
And my mom comes in. She goes, "What are you eating?" I'm like, "Chicken strips." She goes, "Did you make that seasoning for them?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's, "Let me taste it." She's like, "It's pretty good." And I'm like,
"Yeah, I know how to
cook. I know how to season for what I like,
We made yesterday, made this pork loin that it was very basic. It was leftover bacon grease from BLTs. So all I did to the pork loin was pepper, garlic, not garlic salt, but garlic powder, and then fried it on all sides to make sure that it was seared beautifully. Then threw it in the crock pot with, it was 3 or 4 cups of chicken broth that I also made. And then I put the potatoes, I put the broth, and then put the pork loin on top. Then I grilled I sauteed really the onions, and then poured the sauteed onions on top of the pork loin, covered it up. I think within 3 hours this was done, and it was tender as can be, delicious. Sean pulled out all the juices and made this delicious sauce with mushrooms in it. And then I'm sure he added more seasonings, thickened it up.
Flour, make it a gravy or just a sauce?
Gravy. No, he made that gravy into gravy. So it just went over the potatoes, went over the pork, and it was absolutely delicious. And I was like, oh my goodness, we ate that. I think there was a few bites of the pork loin left, maybe enough for one sandwich, and that's about it.
Yeah.
It was good. But yeah, you can make 3 of us ate off of that, and then one more sandwich. So really 4 people could have eaten off of this one pork loin with fingerling potatoes and a half of a sweet onion and some leftover mushrooms that we had. That you start playing with your food and trying different things. Just try it out. What do you like? Even if you don't like cooking, just try things.
Through small batches. Yeah, I will tell you one thing when it comes to pork that I do like. I'm not a pork loin guy. If I'm doing a pork loin, I'm going to chop it up, put it in sauce, and cook it in the slow cooker with barbecue sauce.
Okay.
So it's going to be like the same flavor as my ribs.
Okay.
But I'm going to slow cook it that way and make pulled pork out of it. It's what I'm going to do.
Oh.
But pork chop. Growing up, I loved pork chops, but I loved thin pork chops. Okay. Nowadays, the stores do these pork chops that are like this thick.
Yep.
I don't like that. That's too much. I want them thinned out. We have come up with a recipe of the pork chops. I don't like to do this every time, but a lot of times I'll do it where we'll basically take them out, put them in a baggie, put some soy sauce into them, some brown sugar, and let them sit for about 2 hours.
Okay, yum.
Then pull them out and just cook them. Pour the sauce over it as they're cooking. The remainder of what's in that thing, pour it out over it. And I'll fry them. I won't necessarily have to grill them. I'll fry them.
There you go. You can do so much with pork chops. With the pork loin, the way that I learned from one of my friends is just season it, and then she just put rosemary all on the outside, threw it in the oven and baked it, and then sliced it up. And it was so delicious. The next day, here we have this half of a pork loin because it was just 2 of us. She sliced it up nice and thin, and we made sandwiches out of it. Out of cold pork loin. So you had the flavor of the pork, you had the rosemary and the sandwich, and it was absolutely delicious. So yes, you can eat cold pork, y'all.
Yeah, no. So you like it with the rosemary. I don't like pork loin with rosemary.
Oh.
I love my father-in-law.
I was gonna like it until she made it. It was so good.
No. My father-in-law, Alfred, was he was a loving guy. He was very gracious and so one of these people who tried to do everything for everybody. But he would make a pork loin, and he'd make this recipe. I can't tell you how many times. He's like, the one recipe you hate, and he'd make it all the time. And he overpowered the rosemary into the pork loin.
Okay, yeah.
And that's why. Not that I don't like rosemary on it, though. It's just he overpowered it. Okay. So it was a dominating flavor over the pork. And I didn't like that. All right. But then he would save it and reheat it 4 nights in a row. And I'm like, okay. I remember one like the third night he reheated that. And I'm like, I couldn't stand it. I'm like, I got on my bike and I went to Taco Bell and got tacos. So not into it.
Oh my goodness, that's way too funny.
But he was a very thoughtful guy in the way he cooked things, though. It's just the way he was.
Yeah, no, this was a perfect seasoning, but there was rosemary on it, and it was just, and I do like rosemary. I don't like it overpowering. And the way my friend Nina, she is a chef in Northern California. Mainly, she does a lot of baking. Oh my goodness, that lady can bake. But she made this when I was moving from Texas to Oregon, and she came out and helped me pack. And that was one of the things that she made. We tried so many different new drinks that time, and she was out there for 5 days just helping me pack. And we went out, had fun, played with drinks, played with food, and we got to really connect. And she's just an amazing person. And, I'm so happy to call her. So Nina, love you, girl.
Yeah. Speaking of the one flavors, when we talk about flavors and seasonings that overpower, you were talking earlier about cumin. I love cumin in my beef, but cumin is one of those things that if someone puts that, if you're not used to it and you put that, you overpower.
Yeah.
Cumin, you can learn to hate it real quick because it can become an overpowering spice. It is so good when it's done right. You put it on beef, you put it on chicken. Oh my God, it is so good. But overpowering it can ruin your taste for something. And that's why we have the way you drink is you don't overpower something, you don't overdo something. You gotta put the right mixtures in of what you like. All right. And that's what our thing was today. All right. We actually went down, pick which recipe you want and make it. And we did. All right. And we get all of our own ingredients. And I know sometimes I like to look at these ingredients as we look at our shows and go, oh man, I got to follow. And then I get, we come on the show ready to broadcast about 5 minutes early and you've changed 1 or 2 things up. So I'm like, today I'm like, I can't find this. I'm changing it up. Gladys will.
And it's sometimes, and I think I was like, this time, I had the hardest time finding the Butterscotch Schnapps. I'm like, I can't believe that's so hard to find. And to hear you were struggling, I went, okay, good. I'm not the only one that has these issues. But, you got to try something new. We talked about
But I had this as my backup, though. I had this as my backup going, you know what? I don't have Butterscotch. I was going to go, I don't have it. I couldn't get it no matter what. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to sit here and sip whiskey tonight.
There you go. When we tried the peanut butter whiskey, that there was something new, something different nobody had done, but then people loved it. This one, in 2018, it won for best rum. And then it also won in 2019 for best category, and for Ultimate Spirits Challenge, it was a finalist in 2020. So 18, 19, and 20, this particular coffee liqueur, Way, for Eastside Distilling, has been either has won best in category, best rum, best in category, or been a finalist. So you know what, y'all, when just try things. You never know. You're
still drinking. Yeah. You're still drinking that cheap ass Tito's stuff. So
hey, I got Deep Eddy over here too, but
I still go with the good old. These little good old. Well, this one here, we found this one because of the war. All right, in Ukraine and Russia, we found this because it was labeled "Support the Ukraine," and this is about my 6th bottle of it since the war.
Yeah,
we make martinis a lot, so.
Right here in Oregon, anything that was from Russia was pretty much the bars removed it. One of the bars literally went on television and poured out everything. It was like, wow. So there were some that's like, oh, it's no, the bars are supporting who they want to support, and there are a lot of great vodkas out there from various countries and within the U.S. So whatever you want to support, whether it's
the one vodka you have up there, Crater Lake vodka. Oh my gosh, I remember that from our episode 1. I can't get it down here.
I know. I'll have to send you some more. I took some down to my brother and sister-in-law. They absolutely love Crater Lake Reserve vodka. I took them the Reserve because that's the even better than the regular one. So I'll have to send you another bottle. So
yeah, I've got this. It's called Straight Lace or Straight 8 whiskey from Kansas. That I got to get a bottle of it to you.
Okay.
So we can do it on the show because it's one that we got in, and it's not mass distributed. We got it at the actual distillery in Dodge City, Kansas.
Even better. Love those.
That's the stuff we love to find. But when we find it, the hard part is usually when I go into these places, and this is like I gotta take some with me if I'm carrying it home, but I gotta have some shipped to you.
Right?
Yeah. So, but I have to ship. I don't know what your rules are here in Texas. When the UPS guy gets here with the shipment, if it's marked alcohol from a distillery, you have to show them your ID to get it.
Right. And that's why a lot of distilleries say we cannot ship to these states.
And there's a lot of states that are messing with that.
When I did Spirit Guides, I had to get it shipped to Washington in order for me, and I was watching the podcast or the tasting from Washington anyway, but they sent all the liquors. They just could not ship it to Oregon, but they could ship it to Washington.
Yeah. I'll have to get it now that I'm an hour from the Oklahoma line. I'll have to get an Oklahoma post office. Maybe I could get 2 states too, but anyway. Hey, it's been a fun show today, man. We had a lot of talk about here today. So
no, this is great. Got to try something new from Oregon, Portland, way from Eastside Distilling. I actually do. I realized that I do own some stock here, not a whole lot. It's gone down in price from $8 down to like $1 and change, but they are still a good distillery here in Oregon, so I still will support them. Try something new, y'all. And if you can get it in small quantities, the small, tasters or the little pints, try them out. That's how you know if you like it or not, or try it at a bar, because that way you're paying for one drink and not the whole bottle. That's right. That's right. You're keeping a bartender employed. So anyway. So thanks for being with us today. I'm Gladys Boutwell in Oregon. Shout outs. That's
you have any shout outs today? I was only going to shout out to the guys at Lucky Liquors for what they did for me today, but yeah.
Lucky Liquors. City, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for helping those that have allergies. Eastside Distilling, and then Carrie over at Stafford Liquor for helping me out, helping me get it, she's the one that said, hey, I've tried it. It's really good. And to Sean also for helping pick up my tiramisu and for finding the Butterscotch Schnapps for me and bringing me the milk that I had forgotten. So thank you, dear, for helping me out today. You're awesome.
So mine I'm going to shout out to Lucky Liquors. All right. And today I'm Tim Gillette for Simple Easy Marketing, Simple Easy Events. Go to simpleeasyevents.com, find out more about what I do and how I help people. All right. Or check me out, my other podcast, timgillette.com.
And I'm Gladys Boutwell, Insurance by Design. You can find me at insurancedesignpros.com. I service small business owners in Oregon, Washington, and California. If you have less than 50 employees, guess what? I could probably help you out. And if you just are out in a different state, guess what? I probably know somebody in that state, but I'll answer your questions. Give me a shout out.
Cool. So we will see you guys next week when we bring on the pumpkin spice white Russian thingy. We're not supposed to be saying Russian. I don't know why we are. Russian.
It's the name of the drink. That's what it is,
But I'm Russian, so don't hold it against me.
Right.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.